Hello, everyone, and happy Tuesday. I am still in quarantine here in the Netherlands, and you may hear some uh, noises in the background. Life goes on it's somehow with some things. So, what we're going to do today is move on with our marketing. So, let's get started with. It sounds like they're knocking. So let's get started with today's very last of the Facebook Marketing Strategies Series live videos. Today is on evaluating and analyzing your data. Doing all of this work, your posting, your writing, your strategy creation, all of that takes a ton of time and a ton of focus and usually some money invested in doing the research and everything. Once you've done all that, what are you going to do with it? Now you have to make sure that it's getting done, and then you actually have to see if it's working. If you don't know if it's working, you're just going to create the same things over and over again and never get any results. So you have to actually evaluate whether or not what you're posting out there, what you're putting on social media, whether it's getting any traction. What we need to do then is actually figure out what's missing, what's working, what's not working, why. The big part is why. So you start with evaluating each piece of what your marketing is. So your blogs, your emails, your social media, your actual website traffic, your sales, because how else can you really know the ultimate results of these things if you're not getting any sales in the first place? So if you look at each piece separately, so if you've got ads running, look at your ads, find out what's working, what's being put out there that's successful, so that you can you need to evaluate it against other companies, other industries, or other companies in your industry, and you can do these evaluations via Google Ads, Google Ads, not in Sense anymore, and via different tools. So Google Analytics, Google Ads, all these things will provide different ways for you to evaluate whether or not they're working, at least in comparison with other companies. If it's improving based on your previous results, then it's working also. So you have to figure out which numbers you're putting them against, so that you know what's working, and you can figure out why and where and how, what's better for you and your customers. So then you want to determine which of those things has gotten more traffic. And then you have to figure out why. And this is kind of a scientific thing where you create a hypothesis and you actually guess essentially on what is working or why something's working. So you brainstorm on why it's working or why it's not. That can actually be very, very helpful. If you have a blog out there that hasn't seen any traffic, then you have to figure out what it was that was about this particular blog that people didn't need or like. What was it that didn't resonate with your customers? Are they even searching for these types of blogs? Are they searching for completely opposite things? Are they searching for the keyword that was set to that blog? For your emails, are you testing subject lines? Did they open a particular email more than another on an A/B test? There's so many different things you can evaluate on every little piece. So you want to make sure that you know exactly what you're evaluating and what you're setting it against. So if you have never sent an email before, you have nothing to set it against. So you'll do it against the industry standards, for example. Okay, then you want to compare the numbers against those in the industry, even if you have data before. So you want to use the data you've got from previous content pieces, but you also want to compare it against the industry. Different tools can help you with this. MailChimp actually has it built into their email system where they tell you what the industry opens are and the general percentage of what other similar companies are getting, what results they're getting. So you can actually look right in their own system. Otherwise, tools like Ubersuggest is a phenomenal tool to help you do research against keywords, against other websites, your competitor websites. It tells you how much traffic they've had, what keywords they even have on their website focused on. And right now, he's got it completely open for free because everyone's trying to do a lot of research and trying to get their marketing up to date and things like that. So this is Neil Patel's Ubersuggest, and I think it's just ubersuggest.com, maybe .io. And it's a really powerful tool. It tells you everything about your competitor that you need to know. If you come by, pop in, and you have questions, let me know if you have questions about evaluating or analyzing data. Okay, so next is another competitive analysis tool, and it's actually an article from Sprout Social, but they have a full competitor report and a template that you can use to figure out what exactly you want to analyze from you to them. From your data or your topics or anything like that compared to theirs. And I will post the article in the comments, so just go ahead and take a look there. But it's a Sprout Social article called How to Perform a Social Media Competitive Analysis. And it comes with a template. So you're welcome to Google that, or I'll post it later on. Okay, so evaluating against your competitors is a great way to figure out where you stand and maybe make some goals on where you want to go. Next, you want to figure out what questions you're trying to answer. So I alluded to this in the science point earlier, where you create a hypothesis. What exactly are you trying to figure out? Are you trying to understand more about your customers, more about your potential customers? Are you just trying to increase web traffic? Are you trying to figure out how to go from 0 to 100 this month? Is there a better goal for you? Are you trying to go from 100 to 1 million this month or this year? Create a hypothesis on how you can do that and prove it or disprove it. So it can be kind of a game for your company and figuring out what worked, what didn't. You can test different things to figure out what is boosting traffic, what is lowering traffic, what is making people run away. And you can guess as to what kind of these questions would be and brainstorm with your team, brainstorm with a business partner, but figure out different reasons why people might not be resonating with your content or might not be coming to you or messaging you or calling you. Determine what kind of things that people might be needing that you're not answering. What questions do you need to answer in order for them to reach out to you? And then so determine that type of hypothesis with every piece of content that you really want to work on. So if you want to increase your web traffic, figure out what exactly, what pages they're leaving from, what isn't working. And then if you want to increase your blog traffic, is your SEO on point? Is it working? Is it clean? Are you keyword stuffing and making Google say, no, I don't like you because you're doing some spam type of things? You need to take a look at each piece that you want to improve and create a goal and then a hypothesis on how you can get from here to there, or why maybe it's gone down. Maybe your traffic has gone down, and you can create a test to figure out how you can improve that and why it did and how you can fix it, and try and see what works. But you want to give it time. You're not going to change all these answers or results within a week or so. It's going to take time for these things to pick up. So you want to be patient. Just make sure that you give it time, at least a month, preferably 3, so that you can really test and determine what exactly is working and what people like. Lastly, you want to track all of this and then reevaluate. I know this takes a little bit of time to track and evaluate and reevaluate, but if you don't know what's working, how are you going to fix it? Or you don't know what's not working, how are you going to fix it? So if you track the progress, maybe once every week or 2, whatever you have time for. Now, as a small business, you're doing everything, so you don't necessarily have a ton of time every week to do this. But if you make time at least once a month, once a quarter, reevaluate, track, and analyze exactly what you did, what your test was, and whether or not it worked. If it worked, keep doing it, but reevaluate again in 3 months, because it may not work anymore after a certain amount of time. It may, that blog post may be out of date already, and you need to have created a new one by now so that you can actually keep redoing the cycle. So just make sure that you actually are tracking and figuring out what posts are working. Social media, if you have 5 posts going out a week and they're all on the same topic every week, are you losing traction towards the end of the week? Do you have less people engaging towards the end of the week? Maybe they're tiring of seeing one topic for an entire week. So you need to switch it up. You need to vary the types of posts that you put throughout the week. If it's emails, if you are sending only sales emails, like, hey, buy my stuff, and it starts to lose open rates, starts to drop, you want to figure out, okay, well, maybe I need to change up the subject line, maybe I need to change up the content, but test. There's a lot of tools out there to help you test from one thing to the other, but when you do test for something like these things, you want to try and keep it very simple. You don't want to test an entirely new template with an entirely different template or topic or whatever it is. You test one small thing. So you'll change the subject line for each email, but keep the content the same. Then you say, okay, well, it was the subject line why people weren't opening. And then you can test something else. You can test a new image on the next time. Same with social media. You can try one on Facebook and one on Twitter. And if it works really well here, but not here, the content works better here, and you want to try something else here. Or maybe your customers just aren't on that other platform, and that can be something that actually helps you, because then you have less time, you're focusing on something that people aren't using. All right, so I think that about covers the gist of evaluating. Basically, you just want to look at the data and really think through exactly what is giving you results. And Google Analytics is a great way to do that if you know how to work with it or have someone that does, because you can set up goals and you can equate value to particular events like clicking and contacts and things like that. And you can actually or just put a value on particular things within your website or particular links, and you can figure out exactly what's going through the process, who's stopping where and why. Maybe they stop at the cart because they had a problem adding it, or they had a problem changing it. And in that case, are you sending them an email? Can you send them an email of, hey, why did you leave? Or come back and buy this, right? So it depends on what exactly you're putting out there, but make sure that you figure out and compare what you've been doing to what you want to be doing, and use that. Use a competitor's analysis to figure out where a good goal is for you. And just keep in mind that you want to make sure that it's not a crazy goal. You don't want to make it so far out there that it's inaccessible, because you can't compare your local shoe shop to Nike. You need to make it reasonable and achievable for you. Otherwise, it's very demotivating, and then you won't go back and reevaluate because then you don't want to look at the numbers. So set a goal that's very doable for you and your company, and then put it against the goal that you were at, the goal that you're going to be at, and compare it against the industry, and start to step up from there. I hope that all these tips help. Today was on evaluating and analyzing. So if you have any other questions, feel free to pop them into the chat and I'll answer them later on. But if you need to contact me, I'm at gemservices.co. That's GEM services.co, not .com. And I look forward to hearing from you. If you need anything, just contact me if you have questions. But I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll talk soon.